And we are back. Still going over this EverCraft kata. It's been a fun little playground to try and test out some things, play around with some concepts, realize how easy it is to make overly complex software for no reason. Today, I think we're going to continue down the road we were on last time. Last time we were looking at the iteration 2 classes, and we were implementing this feature of characters can have a class. So I think at this point we've implemented the monk as well as the fighter, but we're going to go back and verify that in a minute. And I think today we're going to go into the rogue, because the rogue has some interesting requirements which are overlap some of the paladin's requirements, but it's got a new requirement in here that we haven't had to solve for yet, which is my class can dictate how or my class has to take into consideration the opponent's information in order to be able to do something. So that's something new, as well as it cannot not being able to have a good alignment. In reality, that's just a guard of sorts, but we're gonna have to figure out a clean way to do that. We may or may not get through all of this today, but we're gonna see how this works. So off we go on another adventure. Cool. So let's dig in, yeah? The code tells me as a player I want to play a rogue so that I can defeat my enemies with finesse, right? Okay, so I want to beat my opponents with finesse. Oh, did I edit? I edited the wrong one. I'm so smart. Oh, yeah, let's start off how we know how to do. Yeah, let's go ahead and go to our terminal real quick and let's do clear. Are we not even actually typing in our terminal? Clear. There we go. So we've got a fresh branch, so we will do from here. We verified that we have a clean working space. We'll go and run our unit tests. We'll kill the old session and we will run a fresh session on our set of unit tests. Then we'll verify that the unit tests that we have satisfy all the requirements for the fighter. So we have requirements on the fighter where the attack roll is increased by 1 for every level instead of every other level. So that's come on, it looks like it's satisfied. And I think I want to go change that test real quick so that it doesn't have that period at the end. All right. So the other requirement is that the fighter, so I can kick ass and take names. So attack rolls in the fighter, 1 level, 10 hit points instead of every 5, and it should start with 10 hit points. So if I choose a fighter, my character will start with more than the maximum amount of hit points, or more than the normal amount of hit points, because the fighter dictates that. So we've got tests that verify all of the good things that we say or have said or are seeing. So we've got tests that verify all of the requirements that we have up to this point, which is good. So we've got assertions that verify all the stuff. So I think we can successfully move on to the rogue and start building out the rogue class and see if the current architecture will just expand to fit the problem or not. So I'm taking this approach in this particular portion of the exercise less as an exercise in, of course, my IDE is going to start being fun, less as an exercise in trying to design the perfect system up front, and more as of an exercise as I'm taking it as requirement by requirement. I'm making some initial assumptions on how I might be able to perform certain things, and then based upon those assumptions, I am determining whether or not I need to shift my architecture or potentially rewrite everything from the ground up. So far, I haven't found a reason or need to rewrite everything from the ground up, but it may or may not happen. So just at this point, we've got tests on the fighter, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. And let's start a rogue. Rogues. So do we not have IDE moving? It's not following me through the IDE today. I closed all the other IDEs. So hopefully this will start working. Maybe it might just be because I'm streaming, so that's probably a possibility. So we will start off with our test class, and we will the rogue tests. There we go. All right, so rogue tests. So we've got a extension point for our rogue tests. And we're going to pull up our tests and our README side by side. So there's some schools of TDD and DDD that will tell you, oh, write a single test and then watch it fail. And then some people say, well, you don't have to be that dogmatic. I'm not really a dogmatic person when it comes to testing. I'm very much of a pragmatic person where some tests are better than no tests, and no tests are bad. So as long as we have some tests that assert some behaviors, we're better off than no tests without. I'm actually probably more dogmatic about the concept of testing a behavior rather than a class than I am about the amount of tests that you need. 1 second, I realize I need to close my window before somebody drives past and makes a lot of noise. So give me 1 second. All right, apologies for that. So I'm much more of the type of person that just prefers that we are testing behaviors rather than we are trying to test API surfaces. I personally have gotten bit by trying to test API surfaces and finding that it's not really a sufficient test. Like, it's really just chasing a code coverage metric. And while code coverage is a metric that I care about, it is not the end of the world to what it is that I am doing. So I tend to not concern myself too much with those things. But off we go. Let's go back through our README because it resets itself every time, or maybe putting it over here is what did it this time. So I have a rogue, so let's go ahead and set up some tests. So we've got an XUnit test that says given rogue, right? I think this is where we're going to start. Well, if we could spell, not rouge, rogue. My mother would be so disappointed in me. That's not how you spell it. No, that's not how you spell it. So given a rogue, when lands a critical attack, when critical attack, then does triple damage, right? That's an easy enough test to scaffold out. We won't get into the details of what it is right now, but because I don't want to get into the gory details of implementation, I kind of just want to look at this and talk about it and figure it all out from there. So, okay, so we've got one test that will assert that. We've got another surface body that will say, give us an XUnit test that says, given rogue, ignores an opponent's dexterity modifier to armor class when attacking. This is going to be that's going to be probably the most interesting requirement to do, because like our attack class is kind of generic right now. We're going to have to find a way to not like violate principles by doing it. Although I have a feeling I'm going to violate a principle by in doing it. So all of you folks can shame me and tell me I'm a horrible developer. Shame, shame, shame. Anyway, given a rogue, I want to say when attacked. Yeah, that sounds right. So when I'm attacked, ignore opponent dexterity modifier. I think that's probably going to be one of the harder ones to do out of all this. I think I'm going to start with the easiest one, just so that I don't have to... So I have some time to let my brain formulate on how this might actually work. Given a rogue okay, when attack adds dexterity modifier. Dexterity. Spelling. This is one of the reasons why I love this tool. It pays attention to the fact that I can't spell. And will fix it for me. So I have a friend, and he's German, and he speaks English, and when I use incorrect words in English, he corrects my English, and I know that my mother would cringe every time he does it. Makes me sad. Yeah, I know what it's supposed to be. What I find is learning another language, just like with, computer language, right? Learning another language helps you understand the concept of language. And it isn't until I started looking at computer language in the realm of languages that I realized it's really all the same jazz. All right, so we're going to grab one more test. And we're going to say, given rogue when constructed cannot should not have good alignment, right? That's what we're going to say. I think that's going to be the easiest test to implement, so let's go ahead and start there. Let's pin this real quick. Let's go back over to our fighter tests, because I'm going to copy and paste code and make this easy for myself. Oh, yay. So we've got this thing where we're doing this stuff. So we'll grab all of that and we'll stick it in the rogue test down here, right? All right, so we've got a fighter character. What we really need is a rogue character. Naming things is hard. We can bike shed whenever. And instead of Ali, who is our fighter, we want a rogue. I'm trying to find like a good name to use, a good punny name, because that's my jam. Sorry, I have to go to the Google box. Yeah, we'll do that. We will call the rogue Artie. Artie? It's kind of like Archie, right? Artie? Let's just call him Art. That works for me. And we'll do art.character. So we'll go down here. We'll go find where Ali is being done. Oh, we should probably open our Explorer. And we captured all our requirements. Actually, let's go do that real quick. Let's just capture our requirements properly the way we say that we want to. That's the display name, right? So we'll come here and we'll give this a display name, and that display name will be that, and this thing's, I feel like I should just grab the fact. Grab the fact. And do this stuff. So right now all of these tests will pass, which is the false positive. So we're going to go ahead. Now that we've got... Ooh, wait, we didn't do the right thing yet. The right stuff. Let's go back and add the business requirement as the display name for the test, just to make myself easier for when I'm going through and trying to implement these. I can just read the test surface and not have to worry about the document here. This makes it easier for me to align my tests with the business requirement that I'm trying to solve. There we go. That should be good. So we'll close the README. Now we've got more tests or more surface area, and we can go do more stuff. So we'll go back to Ollie is here. We're actually just going to take this whole thing and we're going to copy it, and we're going to create a character named Artie, who's a rogue. There we go. We'll take that. Oh, wait, no, we want to take the, yeah, we want this to be internal. Oh, man, somebody take his keyboard away. He's clicking buttons again. That guy, Rodney, just doesn't know how to click these buttons well at all. Okay, we don't want a fighter character. We want all of that to be a rogue character, so I'm going to close. Oh, wait. Let's pin Artie real quick. Pin tab Artie. And let's close all tabs. That gives us the rogue tests. So we still don't have a rogue character, so we need to go create that. Maybe that'll solve some of our woes. So we'll come back over here. We've got characters. We'll do class. We'll do rogue. Oh, wait. There we go. Rogue character. And that will have to implement the character of type rogue. That's a monk. We don't want monk. We want rogue. Which then we'll have to create the type rogue. So let's go back to monk and see where the monk is. Okay, that's just an I character class. So now I remember all this stuff. Oh, it's already got it. Hey, look at that. Ryder's thinking for me. I love it. All right, so I've got modifiers, so I can create my own modifiers there. This will have to implement the thing and do stuff. Perfect. Kind of, sort of. Okay, so I've got a rogue. So now I've got a rogue character. Art. Oh, I called it Artie. Oh, well, let's call it Artie. Let's call him Artie. Artie's our buddy. He's going to return a rogue character. Let's change everything in this file from fighter character to rogue character. Replace all. That's a rogue character fixture now. So let's bring in all the dependencies, and that file should light up greenish. There's one thing that's the same thing that's in the other. Okay, so we're green enough. All right, so let's go back to our test and see if we've got enough at this point to fill out this thing. So system under test is going to be the rogue character. So dot alignment dot should not be, what does it really have, like a alignment flag dot good. So how do we enforce that? How do we enforce that? How do we say that when you go to create your character, hey, you can't use this alignment? I guess each class would have to have a selection of alignments that would be acceptable for the given class, right? So like I'd have to have internal to my rogue character, I would have to know that when you go to select the character's alignment, where do we have the alignment on the character? Come on, you're good at this. Here we go. Yeah, so when we go to select the character's alignment, this thing cannot be of a specific type. And right now that's publicly settable, so we don't have any ability to affect that. So how do we, so I guess we're currently not even concerned with setting the alignment. So I guess all of this requirement is about setting the alignment when we create the character. And maybe I need to provide, So okay, so like if this was in a let's look at this from a UI perspective. I know we're dealing with domain, but like sometimes you have to take a step back from the domain and look at how a user would interact with the system or the application that would then feed you the information in your domain, right? So looking at this from the looking at this from the perspective of that, I'm looking at it from, you would go to create a character. On your character creation screen, you would potentially have a picker or a checkbox or a radio button or some, nonsense like that that lets you choose the alignment. So if I was doing it that way, I would have to provide a list of alignments per character, and then when you select the alignment, we would have to filter it through that alignment and give you the ability to respond. So we would have to do some type of like on error. We can default you to something that we know. So if you put in, okay, so this is where I'm gonna have somewhat of a limitation on my ability to satisfy this requirement, because I don't have a UI, because I don't know exactly how I would do this. So my implementation may honestly be different if I knew what that surface would look like. But I feel like I would have to have, at minimum, either a guard statement that says you can't do that allows me to throw an error. And I think that's fine. I think that if the alignment being set incorrectly to a value that it doesn't allow happens, then we should just throw an error and be done with it. And I think that's how I want to handle that. Right? Throw an exception. That's not something you can do. So now we don't care about keeping a list of valid values on our domain object. That list of valid values can exist outside of our domain object and just apply to our domain object. Whether or not that's correct or not, I honestly don't know, but that's where I'm going to go right now. The object itself could still exist in the domain, but I don't think that it's the responsibility of the character class to maintain a list of valid, or is it? Is it the responsibility of the object to know its own validity at any time? If we're using the state design pattern, maybe. Are we using the state design pattern? Kind of, sort of. I think from an application programming perspective, if I was to go on the UI and try and update the domain, then I would have some validation that would project to the character creation screen, which would potentially all come from that domain object, right? Or it could come from multiple domain objects, depending. And this character is the final state of, I think that's the way I want to go. That's definitely the way I want to go. I want to go with it's the application's concern to present valid information based upon the domain object chosen. So i.e. I choose a rogue, and these are the valid options that I can present on the screen for that rogue. And then maybe that one's just grayed out. Yeah, I present a valid list, and then you wouldn't be able to select anything outside of that. So if somehow I had a programmer backdoor, I would still want the rogue to error out. So my domain object needs to insulate itself, even though the application is going to have its own UI validation concerns. Before I consider my domain object an object I can save, it needs to be able to guard itself against that. And I could very easily add a guard statement like a fluent validation or something like that. But I'm going to use the RX tool that I have and maybe learn something new myself along the way. So let's play with that. So our rogue character, we would do a this.when property. Okay, let's actually go write our failing test first. Let's go be a good developer. Write our failing test. Watch the thing fail. We wrote our failing test. Let's see. Oh no, good. Yeah, okay, so our test will fail immediately. Yay for failing tests. We love failing tests. Create a new session. And let's run all the tests, and then we're going to focus on the failing tests after that, because those are going to green light because, yeah, that's the one. So let's go look at our failing tests. Eventually all these tests will fail, but object did not expect to be equal to good, and it is equal to good. So it cannot be equal to good. So at the point the domain object is constructed, how can we do this? Okay, so we can do this a couple of ways. We could do it for the user and say, hey, you gave us good, and the closest thing to that is neutral because you can't be good. And we can automatically set it. So we could throw an exception and automatically set. We could just throw an exception, and instead of verifying that the alignment isn't good, that we catch a alignment not allowed exception. I don't know what the heck we would call it, but I would want some type of maybe custom error so that people outside of this domain would know that this is a domain-specific exception. Or people that are consuming this domain would know that this is a domain-specific exception. That's what I'm trying to say. So maybe I do it that way, and I honestly think that that's the way I want to do it because I personally like throwing exceptions. That's going to get weird, though, because we're going to throw an exception down the observable pipeline, and I don't want to do that. I just want to throw an exception. So I would do that on the set. So this kind of exists outside of my control, but I need to be in control of it. So I could default. The easiest way is to default it and then put a guard that throws an exception if you try to change it to something that it can't be. I think that's the way I want to do it. So cannot have good alignment. So let's create another test, and we'll have starts with neutral alignment. Neutral. Man, I can't spell. Okay, starts with neutral alignment. So should be neutral. And that's easy enough to implement, right? Like, let's change. When constructed, should have. We're going to copy and paste because I don't feel like typing that word again because it types weirdly to me. Should be neutral alignment. So this we don't actually even care about in our test, which means we can get rid of stuff. All right, so given when, then this alignment, boom, here we go, run the thing. Oh wait, we got more tests now, so let's go back to all tests. Let's run all tests, and this one is going to pass. It's going to fail. They're both fail. Okay, good. That fails. And then all we have to do to fix this is go here and say alignment equals neutral. So I feel like there's a thing in TypeScript where you can restrict what values from an enumeration are. I wonder if I can do that in C#. Let's go see. Limit the value. Let's just go check the Google box. Do enums have a limit to the numbers? Limit properties in enums. Best way to limit it? No, none of this is okay. So part of Google Foo is knowing how to Google properly. Apparently, I'm failing at my Google Foo today. Because what I want to do is I want to basically just say, hey, I don't know, like, I feel like the correct syntax in TypeScript is something like that where you just say, like, hey, this thing can be this or this. I don't think I have the ability to do that, so maybe I do need to give you the ability to pick from an alignment. But like this whole thing, it doesn't say anything about that. Like going back to our requirements, our requirements state that it cannot have a good alignment. So how we implement that is how we implement that. So let's start it with a neutral alignment. And let's say this dot when property value changes x dot alignment dot where x equals alignment dot good. Then we're going to throw. Or can we just do where's the how do I throw the exception? I forget how to throw an exception. Throw an exception using observables. Wow, there we go. Like I'm not too good to go Google my own stuff. Well, it's not my stuff. It's just stuff I use. Throw an exception. It's just dot throw. Dun dun dun. Observable dot throw. So I should just be able to do dot throw. Oh, is it off of observable dot? This is gonna get weird, but we're gonna let it get weird. We're just gonna go. I feel like let's just do this because I just want to see now. Observable dot throw returns an observable sequence that terminates with an exception. So if I throw that exception, where is it gonna get captured? It's gonna be in the observable pipeline. I might have to capture it on the thrown exceptions of the object itself. But let's do that. Let's just do new exception. New exception. Alignment. Is not valid for this character. And we're going to have another requirement like this when we go to implement the paladin. So like, I want to kind of get this right now and not have to come back and deal with this later. Alignment dot good. Oh, no. Why is, that's the message, not the message template. Dun, dun, dun. I'm so used to using logging frameworks and thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, this will be fine, right? Everything's fine. All systems normal. Okay, so this is going to not do anything good right now, but this will return an observable sequence. So how do I properly throw an exception? How do I throw an exception? Equals observable dot throw. So I want to okay. I just have to select the sequence out. I can select the sequence out and then throw the exception, and then allow that exception to be done something with. This is gonna get weird really quickly though. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. Is that really what I want to do? Let's find out. Dot where? Let's do dot select underscore observable dot throw. What have I not satisfied? Dun dun dun. API surface looking exception. I'm giving it a new exception. The result. Select. Project. Okay, so let's set this to a var real quick. Result equals, see what the type is. What type are you? You are now of an unknown type. That's an observable. Okay, where alignment equals good, select, throw new exception. How do I throw the exception? Oh my goodness, I haven't done this. I don't think I've done this actually using RX. So I think we're all going to learn something here right now. As soon as I figure this out. Okay, when using observable dot start. Okay, so yes, I could technically, okay. Okay. I can return the exception. Yeah, I want to explicitly say, how do I throw an exception? How to throw an exception? Creating and throwing exceptions in C sharp. Nope. There's an observable dot catch. How do I 5 reasons not to use observables in C sharp. 5 reasons, huh? We're gonna go back and look at that. Throwing exceptions. Nesting observables and exception handling. Yeah, that's a hard topic. Okay, I'm not. Maybe I'm missing it. The code example here. Okay, that's the same thing. Okay. I think what I'm going to do, for the moment, just to see what happens, is take our new exception, and I'm going to create a domain-specific exception in a minute. I just want to... see, that bothers me. What does throw want as a parameter? Throw exception. Dot subscribe on next. Okay, here we go. I think I know what I can do. I can do observer observer dot. Oh, that's the actual value. That's not the observer. Oh, I've been dealing with subjects too much. So we can do this. We can do throw new throw that. Let's see if it throws an exception. So now if we go back to our tests, we come over here and say we cannot have a good alignment, right? This again doesn't matter, so we'll get rid of superfluous code that we copied and pasted because we're realizing now, nope, that we shouldn't have that. So here I think what we want to do is, we do want to win here. This is when we actually are going to need a win now, but that was the wrong win. So what we're gonna do var result equals record dot exception. The action is going to be system under test dot alignment equals good, right? So that's we're gonna catch that exception, and then we're gonna expect the result to be should dot be of type exception dot which dot message should dot be the thing. All right, so and this will definitely fail because even if it actually does hit the exception, it's gonna fail because of this. I'm horrible with names. I think it was Angie Jones on Twitter a couple of months ago said something around the lines of, "How can you trust a test that you haven't seen fail?" I completely agree. I'm of the belief that if it fails for any reason, that's a failure, and then we work through it to get it working, and then through the course of that, we may determine that it may be a false positive, but we always start with a failing test, regardless of how it fails, even if it's just object reference not set because we literally haven't newed it up, right? We work through the getting the test working. So let's run this one real quick just to prove that that now works, because we wrote some code to fix that, and that's green now. So now when we have a good alignment, we expect there to be an exception thrown. So let's do the thing. Expected string to be of length 0, but alignment good is not valid for this character type, has a length of 52 near. All right. So what that tells me is that worked. Oh no, that worked? I think that worked. Let's actually debug through that and verify. I don't know what's going on here. So let's, because I'm always wary, like the test lights up green and it's like it worked the first time. What did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? Let's remove that. Let's just put a breakpoint right here. Let's remove that and let's just debug through the thing and see what happens. Yes, Mac OS. You want me to restart my machine. How about you remind me later when I'm not in the middle of a live stream? All right, so that's going to run. That's going to do stuff and things. We're going to set wisdom and intelligence. That's probably breakpoints left over from the monk. Let's go back and remove breakpoints because we don't need superfluous breakpoints. We've now gotten to this result. Did we actually watch the thing do the stuff? Hold on. I feel like we just got gypped through our experience. Debug. Ability factory. Yeah, we don't need that breakpoint anymore. Okay, so it is throwing this exception. So we are getting to the point where we throw the exception. So now we're proving that we can throw an exception in response to you setting the thing, and then I can also explicitly and go set it back to whatever the previous value was. So this is going to get tricky. This is going to get tricky. Because we can technically intercept the value changing and set it back to whatever it was. So okay, here we go. I'm gonna do a trick here, and I'm gonna use the trick as one of my friends and colleagues likes to use it, as opposed to the way I prefer to use it, just to show a simple way that you can make this work more or less easily, right? So what I'm gonna do is this, because right now at this point, we've allowed you to set the alignment and we've thrown the exception, right? So what we need to do is we need to verify that when this is actually going to change when alignment changed, it should still not have a good alignment, right? And then we can check this same thing and say, or did we already do this? I think we might. No, we didn't. When the alignment changed, it should still not have a good alignment, but we can also do when alignment changed should throw exception, right? So we can throw the exception and default it back to what the previous thing that the person had. So we're going to go and try and figure out if we can do that without causing too much friction. I have a feeling that the way I'm going to do this is going to introduce a bug, and I'm okay with that because I know exactly what it's going to do. But I kind of just want to do it just to show a different approach to how something like this could be done. So off we go on another adventure. Cannot have good alignment. Starts with alignment. Should throw exception if setting good alignment, right? Okay. So that's the throw exception, and then we're going to say this, that after you set it, then it should still, like if you set it, if you explicitly go and set it to good, then it should still not be good. It should not be good, right? So let's go ahead and run all of our tests again. We know we've got some that are going to light up green, and we don't care that those are false positives right now because I promise you they will fail at some point before they go. And I can even go do it now and just explicitly tell them to assert false if I wanted to, but I don't. So I'm going to live dangerously because I've got deadlines. Yeah, that's what you do when you have deadlines. You live dangerously. System under test. So we don't actually care about recording the exception. Yeah, we do want to record the exception. We just don't want to do anything with the exception when we get it. Yeah, I don't want to use it. To expression lambda. That's fine. I get it. You don't want me to do this. The fact that it returns a value, you want me to take the value. But I don't care about your value right now. So cannot have a good alignment, and it should though if you set good. So we know that this is working, so we're actually just going to copy this whole thing out right now. Set that there. And then we're going to watch this test green light the next time we run them. But we're going to focus on the fact that after you set it, it shouldn't be good, right? Like, you should be able to try and set the thing, and we just tell you, hey, no, you can't do that, and set it back to the last. And again, I know this is not right. We should probably stop you from setting it all together, but let's have fun. Let's create job security by implementing requirements poorly. Not necessarily poorly, just in a way that we know is potentially buggy. So let's we can do. And actually no, this isn't buggy, in my opinion. This is not actually buggy. We can do this and have some level of confidence. So we'll do this. We'll do dot. Dot buffer 2.1. We are going to explicitly run this. Are we doing? I don't think we're doing anything with thread scheduling yet, so I don't want to introduce that just yet. We're going to buffer it. So the first one is going to be the current value, and the next one is going to be the previous. See, this is why I like my zip approach better. Buffer doesn't allow us to select out, does it? No, so what we can do is we can do dot select buffer. We'll do a select on the buffer. We'll project the buffer out as a tuple of it'd be current value of buffer 0 and the previous value will be of buffer 1, right? Because we're basically creating an array of the buffer. So we'll select that out. So now we've got current and previous, right? So if x.current equals good, we throw the exception, right? Also, if x.current is good, we're going to yeah, we have to let you publicly mutate that property. I don't really see a way around that. So if we then do dot subscribe, because we can't do dot to property. Ooh, we can we do bind to? Let's see if that works. Let's see if this does the thing. We're going to put a breakpoint on this select here. And we're going to run this thing. Oh, wait. Yeah, we're just going to run it. We're going to run it and see what happens. Because unit tests give us immediate-ish feedback. Well, that didn't do anything. So let's debug through the thing and see if we're even getting to the buffer, yeah? Because the initial value change will get set. Brr. Go back to our test. Because like we know it's going to throw an exception. Are we running the wrong test? Here, let's just debug this. See what happens. System argument can't come. Oh, reading is fundamental. Binding type converter, property mixins. So I broke something. Oh, it's the bind to. We tried to be smart. And it bit us. So instead of doing the bind to, what we'll do is dot subscribe. We will do X align. Let's do suppress change notifications. Using suppress change notifications. Because we don't want the change notification to happen then when we set it back to whatever the previous value was. So we do x dot previous, right? Previous, that's a semicolon. Slam, semicolon, end line 36, end of line. Beautiful. So let's see if this all works now. Let's debug again because we want to just... It's weird that it didn't hit that though. It should have. Let's see if this hits here. Okay, it does hit here. Oh, am I doing this wrong? How does the buffer... Oh, the buffer... Oh, it's a list. It's not a stack. It's a list. Data structures and algorithms analysis would tell us that we are using the wrong data structure to do what we are trying to do. Dun, dun, dun. All right, that's simple enough to fix. It's just like, oh my goodness. Did we not think about that? Because that's the zero. This is why I like my zip approach better, because it's, in my opinion, more intuitive. Because it's just gonna put it on the list, right? So it's a stack. It's not like a queue or any of that complex stuff. It's just a stack. Let's stop that real quick because now I see what's going on. It's not hitting it because that it's throwing the exception in the same process. So let's do that. And then let's do this. Introduce variable, replace two occurrences. We will call this thing alignment changed to good. Yeah, let's move. Ooh. Did it not replace both occurrences? I thought I told it to. I guess I didn't. Yes, I didn't. So now we can take this, and we've now composed an observable pipeline that we have since split in twain. And if we run this again and click the debug thing and do more stuff, because I kind of want those things to happen at the same time, and I kind of don't. And this is where it's like, I know I can do a do statement and do the thing out of process. It runs, it throws the exception, so we get the exception thrown. Okay, so now I'm thinking this all actually has to happen in the same stream of work. Okay, so we can't even break this up. We'll do x dot current. There we go. So now we'll get rid of all of this. And what we'll do is we'll set the value back without letting the change notification happen, and then we'll throw the exception. So this is a series of events type things, and we need to make sure that we can we can maintain a series of events. So one of the things about observable programming or reactive programming or functional programming in the C# space is you can make things happen in parallel or in serial, and I was trying to make it happen in parallel, not realizing that the exception was going to be thrown before this would actually happen. So to make it so that it happens in line, I'm going to set back the previous value and then throw an exception. And I can probably move this out to a static function if I wanted to. Refactor this, extract method to local function. Replace with method group. And now we'll do an F12 and we'll say on good alignment selected. Yeah, sure, that seems good. Let's change this X to F2, not 2, to alignments. And alignments.current, alignments.previous. So now if we run this thing, I'm hoping we can do it and we can verify also at the same time that we didn't explicitly do a property change notification and force things out. Yay, so now both of those tests green light and we're more or less good to go, I think. With that at least. Okay, so now I feel good about this. Cancel. Come on, key promoter X, do the thing with the magic and the stuff. So generally I use like the execute for... How do I say this? Generally, I use the execute for things where I'm trying to invoke a command. So I'll like use execute syntax. But because subscribe and the syntax of observables is on next, on error, and on complete, I'm starting to think that in my subscriptions, when I actually have to have an expression in my subscription, and I hope... Can I make this static? Let's see if I can make this static. Yeah, that's what I thought. I could pass in the alignment, but that's whatever. Okay, so here I don't care because it's all in the constructor. I think I actually want this. Ooh, here's a question about how we like. So where do we want local methods? Right now I'm gonna leave it at the top, but like, do we want local methods at the bottom, at the top, close to where they're being consumed? I think I still want the assignment statement at the top. I honestly think I want my observable pipelines above. And what does that do for us? We still have things that are not lit up. So what needs to light up? Okay, yeah, some of these tests are false positives, right? So let's go back and let's just do true should be false. On all of these tests. All right, so that way we can get a better accurate understanding of what's actually passing and what's actually failing. So these are all now passing. So I think we've satisfied the whole neutral requirement bit for now. Okay, this gives us some more accurate understanding of what's going on. Cool. So we still need to figure out how to do all of these things. Adding the dexterity modifier to the tech instead of strength should be easy enough. Let's go look actually at the... Oh, let's go back and check. Did we satisfy all of our cases, right? So it starts with the neutral alignment. Should throw an exception if you set a good alignment, and it cannot have a good alignment. So it will never have a good alignment. Even if you set the alignment, it will not be good. Okay. So let's add the dexterity modifier. So we've got our given our rogue character Artie. Actually, let's go look at the fighter tests because I know we have other tests that do something similar. That's the character. I want the tests. Show me the tests. I find your lack of tests disturbing. That's 10 hit points. I think we did, okay, maybe we did it on the monk, right? The monk returns 1 hit point, has 6 hit points. Monk does 3 points of damage instead of 1. Yep. And I want to say we did, yeah, adds wisdom modifier if positive. Yeah, it doesn't say what the wisdom modifier is. Okay, this is added to the class. I think we want to split that to the right, close that thing over there, drop that down, and let's look at this test and construct a new test. Because I don't want to just copy and paste it. I think that's a little too much. Fighter attack roll for 1 instead every level. Oh, it wasn't the fighter. It was our monk. Yeah, here we go. Tests. Okay, rogue, when attack, adds dexterity modifier when constructed, given when constructed, then wisdom stuff. Okay, cool. So I know where I'm at. Ability thing, we need to do this. And we need to say substitute for I ability factory, bring all the stuff in. Win, dexterity, so it's not, oh yeah, it is going to be dexterity. Win. It's going to be twofold. It's not going to be just this test. So this is actually let's follow it. Let's follow it. I'm just going to keep going because I want to say what I can do here is assert that my system under test that attack. Oh wait. Attack. Let's use this await syntax. Let's change this to async task. All right, so we do a roll event, and then this roll. Okay, so the result dot modifier that should be whatever the dexterity modifier that we added, right? So this should be equal to the dexterity modifier that we passed in. I think we can get away with that. So right now we'll just do 13 because why not? Or we'll do 1. We're going to change this from a fact to a theory. We're going to pass in a int dexterity. Yeah. And then we're going to grab some of this good old-fashioned inline data from over here, and we're going to slim it down. 9, 10. So I think we don't start applying modifiers till 12, so we'll do 12. 13. Ooh, it says all modifiers. should be the dexterity dot. Yeah, the result. Okay, so now, okay, here we go. The system under test, yeah, because this is what we want to do. We want to assert on our system under test where we can, should be the result. The result modifier, right? So the dexterity modifier for the system should be the result modifier. So let's go run these two things and see what happens. So let's just run it. I think we're going to come back to those tests in a second, but for the moment, let's just go run this unit test. Adds dexterity, then should add dexterity modifier. It runs it, they all fail. Yay, failing test. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Dot with factory, ability factory. Now what happens when we run? Dun dun dun. Object reference not set to an instance of an object where character line 121. Ooh. Here's where we would want to source the ability modifier from the character, right? Because like we have observers, we have the class attack modifier. Okay, so we would want the class attack modifier. We would probably want like the class ability modifier, and then we're just gonna do ability modifier. This should be an I ability modifier. Oh crud. Okay, so we just broke everything. Yeah, we just broke everything. That's probably not cool. So here's the thing. If we break everything, we can take control, and just the extension point that we give our consumers is they create an ability and we execute that ability for them. I don't know if that will scale better or if we need like some type of templated method stuff here. The problem with that is this is all being done inside an observable create, and I don't know if I really want to go down that path. Yeah, because it's the strength modifier. So that means that if I run this now, all of my tests are going to fail, obviously, right? But let's go look. All right, public interface ability modifier is going to be an I class modifier, right? And then what we'll do is we'll say that, because like all of our tests, a whole bunch of tests are going to fail now, and that's fine. Okay, so we can easily say this, and it's first or default. Okay, so we can default the value to the strength dot modifier and not break as much stuff. So now, okay, case in point. If I go do this now the way it is, and I go rerun all these tests, whole bunch of stuff is gonna light up red. Yay, I'm not a liar. Ooh, I would expect the fighter stuff to come up. I would have expected more stuff to come up ready. We don't have tests around that. If the strength modifier isn't there. Okay, so if I do this and put that strength dot modifier there, I can get away with it. Now if I go to my rogue character and I say in your... how are we doing this in other characters? Let's go look. In the monk character, we are setting... oh, it's done in this. In here. That's where we set the ability modifiers. Okay, so I need to do this on the actual rogue, which is here. Cool. So the rogue is going to do a public rogue thing. It's going to do modifiers equals new class, where I give you a new dexterity modifier, right? Yeah, I think that's how we're going to roll. That's exactly how we're going to roll. We're going to create a type. We want that type to be internal to here. I actually want this type to be private. And I want this thing to happen here. And I want it to return... ooh, boy. I can't give you this answer without having contextual information about the class that we're modifying. Scheisse. So here you would have to pass me the instance of it. Do we have one of those? Yep, we're doing that with the... oh, we're not actually using this. How are we doing this with wisdom? Let's go back and look at the monk. All right, because we're doing this, that's setting a static value. What we're trying to ensure is instead of using the strength, we use wisdom. All right, we're going to go with the path of least resistance for the moment, and then we'll come back and play with the code more later, because I like that concept. All of this is trash. Like the ability modifier won't work because it's not a class. It's a class modifier on an ability. We need to set this, otherwise it's gonna... oh, we don't have a base class around this, that's right. So how do we do the thing? Thinking. Let's go back to the attack mode. We definitely don't want that. Which means we're gonna have something red here in our character because we made this change. And what we try to do is have this attack modifier be a thing. So we can give a template method that lets you determine here based upon what you have to go give you this value. I don't know that I like that. I don't know that I like that, but I don't know that I don't like it either. I don't want to override this entire method, but it is set to being overrideable. So for the moment, the easiest way to do this is to just override it. But then I lose this class attack modifier bit. That I wrote, which I think adds value. Sir... because at the point that I create the modifier, there's no way that I'll know what it is. I can always add one, but then I can't keep that level of encapsulation that I want. Okay. We'll just override the method for now. And we know that this is a bad decision. And we'll go in knowing it's a bad decision because we override. Override. Okay. I think really the only thing we really care about in this is, I think, a factory for creating a roll event, but that's... Right, if I template the method that lets you create the roll event, then I can give you full fidelity access into the thing, and then I just pass your roll event down the pipeline. That doesn't ensure, and I don't want to go down the template method pattern too soon, so we'll come here. Override. Where is this overridden? Okay, so the rogue character can override an attack. For the moment, this is just how we're going to do it. We don't need this ability. We don't need this modifier here. Here. Oh. Yeah, okay, so a roll event. We need this to change to an ability modifier instead of a strength modifier, right? And the ability mod, so that's the one we want. Or we can just use this one. Dexterity dot modifier, right? I feel like that alone should greenlight these tests. We had a session, didn't we? We created a session for this. I think we deleted our session, so let's get a new one going. Let's run all these tests. And now that I have failure asserts in there, I feel a lot more confident. Ability modifier does not exist in the current context. Well, what do you know? It doesn't, does it? Sheesh. Dot modifier. Wah, 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 wah. I need a... So I have a soundboard. I just haven't hooked it up because I'm not a great sound engineer. I've even got like sound panels around here that I need to like paste around my office to give like better reverb and better sound and stuff. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Cool, so that worked. Yes, that's the easiest way to get there. It's not the best way, but it's the easiest. Alright, cool. So, does triple damage. It's probably the next thing that we'll implement, and then we'll probably call it a day. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. So, when critical attack. So I want to say that the monk had some test around attacks, right? So when constructed, wisdom modifier added. Monk adds wisdom modifier of positive to armor class. Monk does 3 points of damage instead of 1 when successfully attacking. Okay, so this is probably the test that we want to play with. So we'll grab the innards of this test. We will go back. We'll paste the innards of that test here. We will change this from him to Artie. We'll call that a rogue character, and we will bring in the rest of the missing imports. So rogue ignores Gats brain. Oh, yep, we pasted it in the wrong place anyway. So let's go back. Rogue adds dexterity modifier. Let me finish this. Rogue should throw exception. Rogue cannot have good alignment, and a rogue starts with neutral assignment. Okay, so let's go back now. Yank these values out. Paste. These values in. Yeah, that one's going to be the hard one, and I don't want to implement that today. I think I would rather go get another cup of coffee and relax a little bit than implement that today, because that one's going to be a fun one. Okay, so when the rogue character... Okay, so now let's talk about it through, right? So when the rogue, Artie, attacks hate, or you don't care about the... So the rogue does triple damage. So we need to force a critical attack. Does this have anything to do with critical attacks? Critical attacks, attack rolls increase, but nothing about crits. I don't think the monk has anything about crits either. Returns the hit point modifier. I know that it applies... Oh, wait, no. This shouldn't be skipped. Should it? I think we fixed this and we can unskip this. I'm going to do it real quick and see what happens. Worst case. Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? Run all the tests. Two are failing. Which two? Just the same ones. Okay, cool. Okay, should do triple damage, but found -1. Brr. When the roller rolls a 20-sided die, so critical attack is a 20 roll. When Artie attacks... Let's go look at our attack, because I haven't actually looked at this class in a couple of streams. I have a feeling this is going to blow up. Oh wait, why didn't I get a roll modifier? Let's stop that and debug that one again. So I didn't get a roll modifier? Roll. I need to increase my dexterity. Dun dun dun. Oh, this has nothing to do with dexterity. This has to do with the fact that when I crit as a rogue, I do triple damage. How do we do... okay. How do I assign damage? Execute attack. Roll modifier equals attack dot roll dot modifier greater than 0. Attack roll modifier. Damage equals attack roll roll This might be more than I want to chew off today too. We've been at this for a good little while now, so I know I need coffee. Where is that created? Okay, so we need to set the modifier. How do I do that? Okay. So when the roll is a natural 20, we want to set the roll modifier times the amount of critical damage you can do. So this is something that we actually, I think we want to pass in on the event itself. Because that makes it easier, right? Yeah, because like, okay, here we go. We can say modifier. So let's think about that. We have a roll event. Then we have the concept of a critical. Maybe we want the concept of a roll event and a critical roll event, but we aren't really doing that. We're just saying, hey, like we don't want to roll and then verify what it is. Or maybe we do, right? Maybe we want to roll and then verify what it is and then create the correct type. That might actually be okay. Where am I I'm using, where am I using the constructors? Using the constructors there. So I could do roll. I could check to see whether or not it's a true 20. If it's a true 20, I can do a critical roll event. And then do crit and then crit modifier. Yeah, I can do a crit modifier. And okay. This is more code. Critical roll event. So it's going to take a roll, a modifier, it's going to take a int crit. I'm going to call it a multiplier. Critical multiplier. Wow, I cannot spell today. Multiplier. All right, critical multiplier. I want to store that in a read-only field. And it's going to be the multiplier by which we multiply crits. Keep it simple, stupid. What am I doing? I actually think that this belongs up here in the roll event now. Like that's why I'm like, ugh, okay. Fine, you win. Crit multiplier. Right? Okay, so we have a critical multiplier, which will default to 1. I'm just going to do some constructor magic. Okay, that's just going to be a constructor that passes through arguments to this other here constructor. It's going to now tell me that it can be internal, but no, it cannot, because I'm going to come back over here to my little rogue. Come on, buddy. Let's do this, buddy. Characters. We need to figure this ability modifier bit out so we can not have such a bad go in our implementation of our character, our rogue character. But I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. I'm also going to apply this 3 to the thing. Now it has a crit multiplier. So yeah, maybe as I'm seeing it, I want a template to be able to do the thing. So now in our attack, oh, is all that roll event stuff living in the attack? Let's split that out into its own, move it to its own file. Okay, so here, now we can do the attack. Times 2, so it would be the attack dot roll dot crit multiplier. And now we know we need to go back and change that crit multiplier to default to 2. So now when he rolls a 20, he should multiply crit. Yeah, let's go look at the attack. Let's go debug through this. Yep, so it hits the attack. So we've got the roll event. Crit multiplier is 3. So now when he attacks, the roll is a 20, so we should do roll. Why is our roll modifier 0? but it's a crit. So if it's 20, attack roll is greater than... What was his statement before? Okay, so what this was before was whatever the roll modifier was times. So let's put a breakpoint. Let's go look at another one of the tests real quick. Attack tests. That's what we want. So we would just want to. Yeah, okay, that's fine. We just want to debug through one of these tests and see what like one of the legacy tests is providing for this value, so that we can see what we expect this value to be. I'm expecting that value to be 1. What was, okay, so what was our previous thing for this? What was our previous requirement for this? The way it reads, it says that if the attack roll modifier is greater than 0, apply the attack roll modifier. Otherwise, apply this thing. Now what we're saying is, so it's going to be 0 plus 2. I'm just going to make this test probably light up green. So the roll was 15, so it would have fell into here anyway, and it would have been the roll modifier plus 1. And this is crits. So let's go back and look at the requirements around crits, because we're going to have to go back and verify our requirements were correct when we wrote the stuff. Just because we are good stewards of the codes. Always hits. Roll on a 20-sided die. I cannot seem to find the requirement. Okay, so where's... roll must be meet 20. Okay, so if an attack is successful, all the characters take 1 point of damage. Roll is natural 20, then a crit is hit is dealt instead, and damage is doubled. Why was the roll modifier being added? Why was the roll modifier being added to the... The roll modifier is -3, so this was... Oh, if it's greater than 0... 0 times 2 plus 2. Okay, so I think we were trying to do this in a ternary operator, and I think I'm going to convert it to an if statement to make my life easier. Oof. Okay, so if we roll a 20-sided die, right? If it's a crit, we want to say that your damage is going to equal whatever your normal damage is times the attack dot roll dot crit multiplier. I'm not sure that belongs on the roll just yet, but so what does that break? If we put this in, this is gonna break a whole bunch of stuff. So I think I'm gonna pause here and quit while I'm ahead and come back next week and look at this with fresh eyes, because I feel like I'm gonna break more requirements. Like I know I'm gonna break more requirements. The second I do this, I just have this really awkward feeling that when I come back here and run all these tests, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of red lights. And if I do, this is where we're gonna pause. And if I don't, yeah. So we gotta figure out how we're gonna fix the attack. Should apply double strength. So we've got to figure this out. And how to not make that suck. So I'm going to go scrounge around my house for some food. Thank you for tuning in today, folks. It was enjoyable, I hope. We got pretty far down the rogue requirements. I think we've only got 2 requirements left to implement. And then we can get into, I think we got 2 requirements left to implement on the rogue, which is, this is going to be a hard one. And then we have the paladin. And then we can move on to iteration 3. So, catch you folks next weekend.